Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The word akbar means bigger or greater, which has a complete meaning with no relation to time, making it an ism. But more specifically, it's a particular type of ism known as ism al-tafdil. And an easy way we can tell that it's an ism al-tafdil is because it appears on the scale af'al, which is the scale used for the ism al-tafdil. So when we see words like akbar and asghar, we can see the scale they're on is af'al, which is an easy and obvious way to tell what type of ism it is, as long as you've studied what an ism al-tafdil is. Now the function of an ism al-tafdil is to compare two things by saying one has more of a particular attribute than the other. So for example, if we say the sun is bigger than the moon, we're comparing two things, the sun and the moon, and we're describing one as being bigger than the other. So in Arabic, we do this by using the ism al-tafdil, and we do it by using the ism al-tafdil that means bigger. Basically, we'd find the three-letter root that correlates to the idea of something being big, which is kaf, ba, ra, and we'd put it on the scale af'al, so it becomes akbar, meaning bigger. Then before the ism al-tafdil, we'd write that which we want to describe as being bigger. In this case, it's the sun, or ash-shams. So far we have the sentence ash-shams akbar, meaning the sun is bigger. Then after the ism al-tafdil, we want to put the harf min, meaning than, because we want to say the sun is bigger than the moon. And then we write the moon, or al-qamar. So the final sentence would be ash-shams akbar min al-qamar. The sun is bigger than the moon. And that's how we can use the ism al-tafdil in a sentence to compare two things. Another quick example using a different ism al-tafdil, asghar, which we learned in the last episode means smaller, would be al-qamar asghar min ash-shams. The moon is smaller than the sun. So you see there's a basic pattern regarding how the ism al-tafdil works. It's on the scale af'al, and you can create sentences by putting the two things you're comparing before and after the ism al-tafdil. However, when we compare these first two sentences with the phrase Allahu Akbar, we see that we're leaving out the second half of the sentence in Allahu Akbar. We're not mentioning anything after the ism al-tafdil. We're not saying Allahu Akbar min anything. It doesn't say Allahu Akbar min ash-shams or Allahu Akbar min al-qamar or min anything. We're just saying Allahu Akbar, which is basically Allah is greater, but we don't mention what Allah is greater than. So to understand this, we can reference what Shaykh al-Uthaymin rahimahullah explains in his book Ash-Sharh al-Mumti' ala Zad al-Mustaqni, where he explains that the phrase Allahu Akbar doesn't mention that which Allah is being compared to after the ism al-tafdil in order to include everything, because Allah is greater than everything. So when we say Allahu Akbar, we mean Allahu Akbar min everything. And that's why this phrase is often translated not as Allah is greater, but rather it's translated as Allah is the greatest. Because Allah is greater than everything, so we don't need to mention anything after the ism al-tafdil. So to review what we learned in this episode, the word akbar is a particular type of ism known as ism al-tafdil, which comes on the scale af'al, and it's used to compare two things by saying that one has more of a particular attribute than the other. And we analyzed the basic structure of a sentence that uses an ism al-tafdil by looking at the sentence ash-shams akbar min al-qamar, meaning the sun is bigger than the moon, and the sentence al-qamar asghar min ash-shams, meaning the moon is smaller than the sun. However, the phrase Allahu Akbar doesn't specifically mention that which Allah is greater than in order to include everything, because Allah is greater than everything, and that's why the phrase Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest. Jazakum Allahu khairan for watching. Inshallah, in the next episode, we'll begin analyzing the phrase A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.